In this video, we're going to continue focusing on stages of development, kind of focusing in on adolescence. We'll talk about some emotional and physical development that occur in adolescence, introducing the idea of self-concept, and self-esteem and how those change and what's added into them from early childhood into adolescence. And then we'll focus in a little bit about brain development during adolescence. So before we talk about how self-concept and self-esteem develop through infancy to adolescence, we need to define a couple of terms. So our self-awareness involves our self-concept and self-esteem. As we go through different stages of development, we incorporate different aspects into these concepts. So our self-awareness, as our self-awareness develops and language skills allow kids to have an inner mental state, this allows self-concept and self-esteem to develop. So our self-concept is going to be a set of attributes, abilities, attitudes, and values that an individual believes defines who or she is. So who am I? While on the other hand, self-esteem is how we view our own worth, the judgments that we make about our worth, and the feelings associated with those judgments. So am I worthy? So our self-concept evolves as we age, and in early childhood, it's based on observable characteristics, very concrete. It's going to emphasize possessions, appearance, behavior, and this is when our self-judgments start to emerge. For example, appearance, I am blonde. Possessions, I have a dog. Behavior, I can run fast. And the self-esteem seems to be overinflated. And their sense of self-esteem is inflated at this time. So they overinflate their abilities. As we move into middle childhood, there's an emphasis on certain competencies, things we're good at. And it's kind of hierarchically organized. Main ones would be things like academic, social, athletic abilities, and appearance. There's more of a social comparison, focus on personality traits. For example, I am helpful to my friends, or I play the piano better than Joey does. Unfortunately, these comparisons can lead to a comparison between their ideal self and their real self, which can undermine their self-esteem. So typically in middle childhood, our self-esteem lowers to a more realistic level. It could even dip below a realistic level at some point, then to hopefully rise during adolescence. So once we move into adolescence, we add layers to our self-concept. We begin to include close friendships, romantic relationships, job competency. And while self-esteem again may lower at first, successful navigation at this stage will lead to higher self-esteem as teens solidify their identity and really figure out who they are. So do you remember what area of the brain develops the longest into adolescence and early adulthood? That prefrontal cortex. So this area continues to form synapses and increase in myelination into our late teens and early 20s. And this is thought to be one of the reasons why teens have a lack of impulse control. It's not the only reason, but it does partially explain it. So prefrontal cortex, important in abstract thinking, planning, decision-making, and impulse control. And so teens not only are trying to break out and have their own freedom, but their brain doesn't necessarily reel them in when they have some of the crazy ideas that they have.